Welcome back, beautiful people of the podcasting universe and world. My name is Franky Rodriguez, and this is the Three Amigos podcast. But it's 1 out of 3 today, and it's going to be a quick one. Usually with these solo episodes, and yes, this is a solo episode, no special guest today. It's just going to be me, and usually again with these solo episodes, we just go in and we talk about something that we've seen, done, whatever. Chris recently did his takes on E3 actually not being dead and coming back from life. You should go check it out. And I recently did a solo episode. We've been doing them a lot frequently just because our schedules haven't been lining up. But yeah, I recently did one for Thor: Love and Thunder. We still haven't, at the time of this recording at least, we haven't gotten together to talk about it and the first impressions and kind of talk about where the MCU's going from here on out. We still also haven't talked about Miss Marvel. I need to do that. I want to do a solo one, but also Ant has been watching that. So Ant, if you're listening, let's get together. I know I could just text you, but if you're listening to this, which you're probably not, I would love to do a recording about Miss Marvel and spoilers with that one because it was a good show. Moving on. Okay, today's episode is going to be about Resident Evil, as the title you'll see posted on Spotify. And for this today's episode is about Resident Evil. But Resident Evil, the new show on Netflix. And that's another topic we could talk about, how Netflix and what they're doing with, their unlimited budget, their dark hole of money bags, and wanting to do things, even though they did cut animation department pretty much, but decided, a long time ago that they wanted to dip their feet into a video game franchise. And they're dipping their feet into Resident Evil, a very well-beloved video game franchise. Great games. I've myself indulged into some Resident Evil. Not all of them. If you think about it, if I'm thinking about it myself out loud, I am a casual, and that's okay. You're allowed to be a casual. I used to be more intertwined, but I didn't get fully immersed into Resident Evil. The only way I get immersed in Resident Evil gaming and lore is through Let's Plays. I love watching Markiplier Let's Plays and PewDiePie. I think he played it at one point. Definitely Markiplier. Him playing the Resident Evil Village and 7 were great. I love watching him. He's hilarious, and it's just fun. It's good, and it's scary. But the scary thing about Resident Evil, this show, is the reviews right now, and they're all saying and destroying and ripping this show a new one, which it deserves. So, my hot take, this is a terrible Resident Evil show, without a doubt. But this is also a good damn show. Confusion? What is happening? What is he saying? I am confused. You can't say that. Yes, I can. It is our show, my episode today. And I'm saying it is a damn good show. I just finished watching it. I just stomped my hand onto my chair. And I will die by that. It is a good show. It is a well-made show, honestly. I know Penguin Zero, Charlie White, our Lord and Savior on YouTube with the plain white tee and his jack-in headphones, said it's a terrible garbage show. And honestly, I don't think it is. It's not. It's a pretty well-made show. The CGI is actually really good and better than some of the shit Marvel is putting out in these shows. So good. The acting is real good. So, spoiler warning ahead. I'm going to do a little bit of spoilers. The two actresses steal the show, which unfortunately their names escape my mind at the moment, but the two young actresses who portray younger versions of other characters. So it takes place at first in the future or present day and then a past day, split between. And they did that so well, I thought, the way they split the present and the past. I thought they did a great job, a fantastic job, honestly, because it kept me immersed and wanting more. A lot of people who do like this show agree that, or at least a general consensus, or my general consensus that I'm seeing from scouring the interwebs, is that the main actress slash the present isn't so it doesn't catch your attention as much as the stuff in the past, and that's got a lot to do with the two young actresses. They killed it. They knocked it out of the ballpark. There's so much good to say about this show, and there's plenty of bad. So the way to narrow down what this show is, basically, if I were to describe it, and I have been describing it to people, it's a generic zombie show, guest starring, and I've said this before, guest starring Resident Evil property / lore. This is if anyone out there listened to my Halo review, that's what I said. It was generic space show, future show, guest starring Halo properties and lore. This is the same thing, except I think they did this way better. It's a better show than Halo. I'm willing to die on that. Halo was crap. It was not a good show. It was an okay show. But even then, like, you can argue it wasn't. So, I'm dumbfounded because I went in with zero expectation. I don't know what to expect. I just saw that's what it was too. I barely saw a trailer to this. I saw a trailer to Welcome to Raccoon City, and it looked like it was a fan-made film, and it looked okay. I haven't watched it, but I did not bother with that just because, like, you know how things are with Resident Evil. It's a cursed property in a way. How many films came out? I can't even tell you how many films came out based on Resident Evil, and it's just funny because you if you're a fan, you are frustrated with this show, absolutely. But me being the casual that I am, I'm happy about this show. I'm very happy. I want more. They didn't need to slap Resident Evil on this. They could have slapped something else on this. I really don't know. Like Patient Zero, Patient X, really cliche things for a zombie show. But this Zero something, like, this works, but not with Resident Evil. But this is what got eyes on it, and that's why people are talking about it. Not in the best of light, but people need to also highlight the good. They can't. I feel like you're just hating on it to hate, which I get, but you're hating on it because they put Resident Evil on it, and I get it. I do, because the only thing it gets Resident Evil wise is just umbrellas everywhere. Umbrellas tattooed across the show, and mentions of Raccoon City, and that's about it. The show ends with kind of like a reveal for the future and characters. I hope they go forward with it. I don't know what exactly they're going to do with it. It could wind up, blowing up in their face. But this is a good first season. I don't care. I like it. I'm in the minority. It's been a while. I'm glad to be here. It's a good show. I highly recommend you go see it. Lance Reddick is amazing. He plays Albert Wesker. Yes, Albert Wesker is black now. He's not white. Cry Me a River fanboys, I don't care. Like, diversity matters, and he did a phenomenal job. I know Wesker is white. I've fought Wesker before myself too in the video games, so I get it. I absolutely get it. The two actresses, present and past characters, Tamara Smart and Sienna, I cannot pronounce that name. Sienna Agdong. I'm trying my best here. Sorry, I really do apologize. Sienna, the lovely actress who played Billy Wesker. They those young actresses killed it. They're one of the top highlights for me, at least, for this show. Again, the surprising CGI. There's a great, just random throw in for a monster towards the end of the episode, and it was wonderful. I loved it. I love me some giant monsters. So Resident Evil is also known for that shit, so that should tickle the fancy for some of the fans. Honestly, I think people are just hating it to hate, just like I get it with Halo, but at least Halo's execution and what they did was terrible. In this show, I'll give them credit. They acknowledge that there is past of Resident Evil. They talk about Raccoon City, but that's where it ends. But at least it's a good table setter for the casual viewer. It's a good table setter for someone who wants to give it a chance. It's a good table setter for someone who doesn't even know what Resident Evil is. And that's where at one point I said, no, this is not a good show for a casual consumer of, pop culture media. Or, yeah, someone who's trying to learn something about a new franchise, I guess, or an IP. But honestly, I disagree. You could definitely just go down a rabbit hole from after the show. Like, oh, are these real characters? No. If you don't care about spoilers, no, these are characters. At least from what I've seen and gathered, these aren't characters that were in the video games. These are new characters in terms of Billy and Jade, two female minority leads. I have to highlight minority because diversity matters. Suck it. But they're great. I know people are hating a little bit, or at least don't find her compelling, Jade's adult present day character, as much, but I would argue the second half of the show, kind of exploring what her current crisis and dilemma is, in her story arc, gets better, and could only get better now because of the way it ended. Not gonna spoil that much more, but yeah, honestly, it's a good show. I recommend it. I liked it. I binge watched it this past weekend. Would have finished it sooner, but I wanted to be a sociable adult and go out. So, but if you're willing to sit down and binge something and be slightly scared, because it's not really that scary either. Resident Evil is supposed to be scary, but Resident Evil stopped being scary, I feel like, many ages ago. But obviously with the last 2 video games that they made, it's become more scarier or gotten back to its roots. So respect to that. And I get where the hate's coming from. Resident Evil fans deserve to be upset and deserve the actual show that they deserve. The Walking Dead has a pretty good and universally praised, I want to say, for the most part, adaptation of its media, of its comic, and we've gotten good games out of it. It's not the type of game that we wanted, but it was a great story-driven game with The Walking Dead and Clementine. So I get it, I really do. But this is just a property that, honestly, to be honest, there's not a big threshold, there's not a big line or glass ceiling to break in terms of great movies besides the first one. Even then, the first one is looking back at it, it is not a good movie, not that good of a movie. This is a good show. I recommend this show. I think you'll enjoy it if you just like action and good storytelling. This is good storytelling. They wrote some good stuff in here, and some scenes, there's some highlights. Obviously there's some cringy stuff, but there's no show without its faults, big faults too. But this one, I can't find other things other than just be nitpicky. And the biggest nitpick, or honestly just the biggest problem, is that it's Resident Evil. This is not a Resident Evil show. This is like a fan-made attempt to connect Resident Evil to that. But I will say, if this kind of budget production was given to do an actual retelling of the video game, or somewhat retelling of the video game of Resident Evil 1 and 2, then people would have loved it, because Netflix pulled, just opened the pocketbooks and said, have at it, and they did. It's not getting reviewed well, but just know this guy right here on mic talking on a podcast on Spotify that no one's listening, and maybe just one person, and it's probably just me when I'm walking to work. It's me. Yeah, I like it. I like the show, and I hope they really do renew it. It's a good show. I like it, and there's a lot of potential here, and we'll see what happens. But that's it for me, ladies and gentlemen, and beautiful people of the podcasting world and universe. Thank you so much for listening. The Three Amigos will be back soon to bring you more of your pop culture loves and needs, and our unnecessary opinion about pop culture. But thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.